much. Anyone? Thank you. Thank you very much. This was the smaller state last time.
Does this seem good?
This is the smallest one.
Right down that way. Thank you guys. I don't know, but it's sold out.
Welcome to Stage 23 at the D23 Expo. Our next presentation, Undiscovered Disneyland, will begin in 10 minutes. Our presentation in Stage 23 will begin in just a few moments. But before we begin, here are a few reminders. For the comfort and safety of those around you, remain seated during the presentation, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the theater. And please, supervise your children.
Permanecer sentados, por favor.
Eating and drinking are permitted, but we do ask that you deposit your trash in the bins provided as you leave the theater. As a courtesy to our presenters and everyone else in the theater, refrain from flash photography and turn off or silence your cell phones. Also, we ask that there be no texting during the presentation. The texting lamp is out. And now, Stage 23 and Walt Disney Imagineering are pleased to present Undiscovered Disneyland. To introduce your hosts for today's presentation, please welcome Walt Disney Imagineering Chief Creative Executive, Bruce Vaughn.
Whoa. D23, woo! Guys having fun? Awesome. Who was here 2 years ago? All right, seems like a long time. What have you been doing? I missed you. Hopefully going around, enjoying Cars Land. Lots has happened since then, right? In fact, Tom Staggs and I just got back from Florida, Walt Disney World, where we were checking on New Fantasyland. People going down and experience any of that? Awesome. We talked about Lumiere. Pretty cool, right? New York Guest Restaurant. We did check in on the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Can't show any pictures. Can make a face. It's going to be amazing. Absolutely amazing. The dwarves are working as hard as they can to get that thing ready. We cannot wait to show you. But this celebration at D23 is really special for us Imagineers because it is our 60th anniversary. So, I mean, that's amazing, right? 60 years. And who has been over to the Parks and Resorts Pavilion? Anybody made it yet? You got to go. We have some really cool stuff, obviously being a special year. There's some special artwork, which we normally don't bring out. We've got the original Ellen Shaw and Ryman pieces of art from our archives on display, so be sure to get over there and see those, because that'll go back and be hidden just for you guys. We've got some celebrities. One of my personal favorites is R2-D2. I know, right? R2, so cool. Captain America might be showing up. And also we've got the Muppet Mobile Lab has journeyed back from Hong Kong. I don't know if you guys remember, we play tested that so many years down here in California with Dr. Bunsen, Honeydew, and Beaker of the Muppets. So they're going to be over there, as well as, and this is even more important, the hundreds of Imagineers and cast that have spent all their extra hours and weekends getting this set up. When you get over there, please give them a little love, because they've been doing this for you guys. They love the fact that you love, like we love Disney so much. So, who's going over later to the Parks and Resorts Pavilion? Yes, please do. So, 60 years, you know, I think about that, and I've been with the company, actually, I've been with an Imagineer for 20 years, and that's a pretty long time. No, it's not. Not when you're an Imagineer. Not when you work next to people who have been doing it for 47 years, like Tony Baxter. I mean, and when you think about all the accomplishments, I was going to go down a big list, but it's just too much. But it did remind me of a story. A number of years ago, I brought my nieces to Disneyland, and they chose what we're going to go on, and you know, we went on Splash Mountain, you know, Big Thunder, Winnie the Pooh, Indiana Jones, and by the time we got done, I realized this is like the greatest hits of Tony Baxter, all at Disneyland, and that's impressive. And you throw in what I think is one of our most beautiful castle parks ever, Disneyland Paris. Who's been there? Isn't that awesome? Have you seen it recently? Because that dragon is phenomenal. We've really got him tweaked up. When you think about all that work this guy he's touched, all the product and creativity that Tony has given over these last 47 years, it's amazing. And I often get asked the question, how do I become an Imagineer? And I just love Tony's story, because who knows how he began. He was scooping ice cream out of Disneyland. I mean, come on, he's scooping ice cream out of Disneyland. So that's my answer when people ask me. Just go scoop ice cream at Disneyland. And that's the good first step. Without any further ado, I want to bring out the main attraction here, Tony Baxter and Imagineer Josh Shipley to take you through Undiscovered Disneyland. Tony?
actually, Bruce helped us a lot because a lot of you are coming out of the main arena show, and that gives us a little stalling time, and we're not going to cut a minute. So we'll run it all the way to the end, and I know Josh has worked so hard to put all this together. So
let's see what it looks like.
we can barely talk because there's too much footage to show you, so we have to do our talking and our showing kind of all at once.
Now, a quick note before we begin. So in the guide it says Undiscovered Disneyland, that is correct. As we built this show, we were thinking we need to do something a little different than 2 years ago. And so we're going through all of this footage, and there's a lot of footage. We went through this footage and we're like, what about those things that we really loved that aren't there anymore because, you know, things have evolved and bigger attractions have come in. So we decided that we were going to do, here we go, we're going to do Rediscovered Disneyland. So the theme of today is very much those things we loved and revisiting them through all this footage.
And that you can't see anymore, right? Okay.
Right.
So, without further ado, and we have like a full slate here, let's start.
All right, here we go.
We're going to begin with a land that, how many people actually visited Holiday Land? Let's see, you know what, there's one or two, all right. Well, imagine this. You're packed in a car, you're dreaming about what lies on the other side of that berm, and your parents, instead of taking you into Disneyland, take you into Holiday Land, okay? And that's what we're going to start with today, because I don't think very many of you have actually had this experience. And this was sort of a glamorized Disney-esque version of the old company picnic grounds. And but imagine, while you're in here, and we're going to go in the front gate, I think right about now. I forgot, I can look it down. While you're in here and you're waiting to go through those turnstiles, just think you're hearing the Mark Twain and the Utopia, all of these things, just beyond the berm, but you can't go there.
Posters at the entrance?
Yeah, attraction posters for the Grand Canyon and the Columbia, but you're not going to go on those because today you get to do sack racing. Yeah, you know, man, at Disneyland, wouldn't that be great?
Right.
So we've got a whole lot of adventures here. I think there were almost as many attractions at Holidayland as there were in Disneyland itself. So let's see, after we finish with sack races, we can go on a slide. How about that?
Look at the
and a merry-go-round. See, we have Fantasyland attractions. We have, you know. Maybe these kids have never been to Disneyland, so they really don't know what those whistles and things belong.
They just think it's part of it. Yeah.
Now, after you finish with the sack race, you know, nothing could be better than getting your own non-themed balloon and having a Tom Sawyer hat, and then now you can be in a balloon race. I guess it's a balloon race, whatever. I've never done that one myself, so another bucket list. Now, forget that unthemed slide that I showed you a minute ago. This is a theme park, okay? And here is the Frontierland attractions, okay? So this would be fun. And of course, you know how hot it is at Disneyland in the summer. It's really, really hot.
There you go.
Watch this little girl as she comes out. I don't want to go into the sun. No way! Yeah, pretty bad. Okay, now, remember, we don't want to go on the Jungle Cruise or the Matterhorn. We want to do baseball. Yeah, that would be fun. Like, so Dad's got to pitch and whole family's out there. Meanwhile, the Mark Twain right on the other side of that. We're going to play baseball. America's pastime. Or volleyball.
Hey.
Right next to the paint shop.
Top Gun moment.
And there's actually 3 orange trees, and if you reached high on that barbed wire fence, you might be able to pick one of the last remaining oranges, I think, while you were enjoying your day at Holidayland. Look at that, circus carts from the Mickey Mouse.
You know, there were contests that were out here too. You know.
There were?
There were.
What kind?
Well, there were, here's the judges now.
Well, she looks very honest. You know, I don't think she would cheat.
No,
what is she?
Of course not.
What is she?
There you go. Hey.
Now maybe there were reasons for certain audience members to go to this that didn't want to go to Disneyland. Maybe.
Imagine at Holidayland.
Yeah. I think they also had Pierre over here too. I'm not sure, but
And then they run.
Anyway, that's another story. Now, the rage in the 50s was the hula hoop. And so what would a day at Holidayland be complete without the hula hoop attraction? No, she's really good at it. I could actually do that too back in the day. And back to those sack races. Now, we showed this up at Pixar last week, and the guys were so blown away about the frustration of being right next to the happiest place on earth that one of them did an amazing thing for us, and we cut it into the show. Josh put it in. I think you'll get a kick out of it.
Yeah, so after this, here.
There's our Mouseketeers.
Nice publicity shot.
Yeah.
The Holiday Land.
Here it is. Sack races.
Action poster now. It was designed at full size. So.
Okay.
But here are the real posters. Now, this is a nice, this is a classic shot here, but we also recreated these for Saving Mr. Banks, which is coming out later this year. So you'll see that the posters are all going to be in a nice shot at the beginning of that.
Yeah, it looks great. Now, in the early days, they really didn't have access to the characters. You've seen them in the opening day, but it was about 4 years later before the characters became really something at Disneyland. So Walt went to the Keller Brothers Circus and brought them in. At first, it didn't do too well, so they brought the Mouseketeers down and added that into it. It still didn't do very good. I think the whole idea of having a circus inside a circus at Disneyland really didn't make sense. But you judge for yourself. Would you go on rides, or would you go and have this guy make you laugh?
It just made me laugh.
I think our generation realized that clowns are not funny. They are scary.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. We have Cinderella's coach and a horde of Peter Pan Eds, I guess, there. The circus wagons were all used in the movie Toby Tyler, which Disney did at the studio, and so always getting double usage out of it. Oh, she's a wild one. Imagine, you know,
I love monkeys.
that would be Walt loved monkeys
Yeah, they
too.
were.
I don't know why, but,
Yeah, but
that was one I couldn't figure. That was one thing I never
Monkey, run a
quite
cannon.
connected into. But evidently, the lady in the leopard skin really loves that monkey. So this was a real animal show, so it's kind of curious that in this area we'd have animals in cages that are real, and then not real animals over in the Jungle Cruise. But anyway, the circus didn't last very long, but this will give you a taste of what went on in there. And for the couple of weeks at Christmas of 1955, they actually brought the Mouseketeers in, and they were part of this. Now, this is a never-seen ride. This was called the Midget Autopia. And if you were really, really little, it was on a track like a dark ride, and both of you could drive, and it was really fun. The ride was given by Walt Disney in 1961, about when they started the construction of Small World. It was given to Marceline. And the ruins of that track are still in place there, as well as most of the cars.
Look at that. Those are really little kids. See ya.
Yeah. My favorite thing was at the end of the ride, you came into the garage to park, and then the back end of the garage popped open, and you were safe. Back at the start with your parents. Anyway, when we built the new Autopia back in 2000, Marceline was nice enough to give us one of the original cars, which is on display. If you take that ride, you'll see a monument out in the car park that is actually one of these original things. Now, this is in there because I want it in there. Look, those trees were full grown when they were being planted, so they didn't grow up over the 50 years. But 50 years later, Disneyland thought they were too big and was going to take them out. And they're in my yard now.
with the lights.
With the lights. They're still twinkling. But as we were going through, I said, oh, that's too good, to actually see them being planted. And I know them by name now. That's Fred. So. Now, here are some really early rides, and you can tell they didn't know anything about operations.
It's a world on the move.
What does water do to the tires of a Conestoga wagon made of wood? Okay, you'll find out in 6 months. This is in the area that Big Thunder and Big Thunder Ranch and the barbecue now occupy, and as we go through in the next couple of scenes, I'll try to relate to things that you may recognize that are still there. Yep, those wheels are getting swollen with water every 8 minutes. So obviously you can tell where that is. Yeah. And look at the safety supports on those people at the back end. Now, this is interesting. This is my favorite. Now, see the two mules at the end? Those are kept back there for really bad guests, and they are...
Pinocchio and Lampwick.
Yeah, for Lampwick and Pinocchio, yeah, this was, I always managed to seem to get one of those two, and mine would veer off to the side of the track or try to throw me a little bit. They were originally, before the train ride opened, they were along with the stagecoaches, the Conestoga wagons, and it looks like there's sort of a Surrey ride, probably they added in for capacity. And this area got redeveloped very quickly into Rainbow Caverns Mine Train ride. And we're going to take you in a minute on the entire Nature's Wonderland. So, leaving the little town of Rainbow Ridge, we come out of our first tunnel into what was Beaver Valley. Now, all of these areas you visit along this ride were part of the nature film series that Walt did. So they were IP, if you will. We all grew up with these films in our elementary and junior high schools. That is a cruising beaver there, or one with a leak, or one that ate the wrong kind of food last night. Shouldn't have said that. Bruce is in the eyes. I think if you look quickly, you'll see a raccoon with a really hyper tail down
right over there.
Yeah. And the little marmots were up over this tunnel, which is still there with all the boards over it. When you walk by Big Thunder, you see that tunnel that has boards boarded up. When you come out on the other side along the river, we go under Big Thunder Waterfall, the largest waterfall in Disneyland, and the namesake for Big Thunder Mountain. Now, I'm going to say something terribly un-PC about the next two waterfalls, but believe me, it's in the script from the ride. These other two falls we call the Twin Sisters. I guess that's because they're always babbling. Dad, I didn't write it. You know, that's probably Marty Sklar, maybe. Anyway, continuing on with our journey, we come out through this tunnel, which you may recognize at the back of the Bear River there, which is still in place. Notice the mules up above going over this. Check out now the bear animation. There's some really good stuff in here. But they were all, you know, covered with real fur, and they're in real water that's dirty. And